Hey, I'm Caleb White, your spiritual fitness coach. I imagine you're watching this on a phone, tablet, or maybe even your computer, which means that just a few clicks away, or swipes, exists a whole world of posts, opinions, and hot takes where you can observe the world championships in the sport of criticizing others. At the time of recording this is an election year in the US, and you can feel the tension bubbling as more and more criticism is being shouted back and forth. It seems like everybody's got something to say. As Christians, we're called to stand for the truth, but so easily we can confuse criticizing others with being truthful. The line between the two can get pretty gray. So what are we to do? In Luke 18:9 through 14, Jesus shared a parable with his disciples about two different people and the heart behind criticism. Here's what Jesus said. He also told this parable to some who trusted in themselves that they were righteous and treated others with contempt. Two men went up into the temple to pray, one a Pharisee and the other a tax collector. The Pharisee, standing by himself, prayed thus: God, I thank you that I am not like other men, extortioners, unjust, adulterers, or even like this tax collector. I fast twice a week. I give tithes of all I get. But the tax collector, standing far off, would not even lift up his eyes to heaven, but beat his breast, saying, God, be merciful to me, a sinner. I tell you, this man went down to his house justified rather than the other. For everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, but the one who humbles himself will be exalted. Now, you might be thinking, I've never prayed anything like that Pharisee. And I honestly can't believe a person could ever pray like that. So much pride. At least I'm not like that guy. But doesn't that sound a little familiar to the prayer of the Pharisee? There's something happening in our heart when we think to ourselves, I can't believe they talk that way, or I would never do that. In our heart, we're being critical of others and comparing them to ourselves in ways that make us feel superior to them. But that's not the way Jesus has called us to live. The tax collector is our example to follow in the story. He recognizes his sin. He recognizes how much he needs God's mercy. The tax collector is well aware that he hasn't earned his way into favor with God. When you surrendered your life to Christ, you admitted to him that you needed a Savior who could take away your sin. You confessed that you are sinful and that Jesus is the only one who can save you. His righteousness, not your own, is the only way. So the next time you feel the urge to be critical of others, remind yourself that it was your sin that Jesus died for on the cross, and that Jesus wants that other person to experience grace and mercy, not a pointing, judgmental finger. Here's one thing you could do today. Think of a person in your life you were recently critical of. Maybe you said something to them directly, or maybe it was indirect. Confess that to the Lord, and then go to that person and confess it to them as well. I know. It's scary. It'll probably feel uncomfortable. But what an opportunity to share what Jesus has done in your life. And it might even lead to an opportunity to share with them the good news of Jesus for their life. What might God do? Now, go win today.